What's up, mamas, and welcome to Express Yourself, the YouTube channel where we share tips, tricks, and all things helpful on your mommying journey. My name is Maggie Schott. I'm a team member here at BeauGen, and in this video, I'm talking about baby wearing. Actually, all things baby wearing. You've probably seen more and more moms opting to carry their babies via a carrier, a sling, a wrap, whatever the terminology. There's a lot of different options out there. And it's not surprising because there are more and more studies that are showing the benefits of having your baby close to you. Some of these benefits are enhancing the bond between you and your baby, having the bond between your baby and partner enhanced. They provide health benefits, such as calming your baby, and so much more. Essentially, baby wearing is just using an aid to carry the baby close to your body, rather than putting them and carrying them in a car seat, pushing them in a cart, things like that. There are two basic forms of baby wearing, and that's wearing baby on the front of your body, and then also the option to wear baby on the back of your body. Now, this differs with the age of the baby. For example, newborns need to be snuggled to your chest so that they are in the right position and you can make sure that they're safe. Personally, I am a huge fan of baby wearing. I knew I wanted to do it, but having my baby during or right at the outset of a pandemic, I fell in love with it even more. For some reason, people are willing to respect your adult personal space, but when it comes to your baby, there is no respect or personal space given. I've had, even in the pandemic, people reach into the cart and touch my son when he was in his infant car carrier. So we very quickly opted for a baby carrier because it keeps baby away from people. They won't enter your personal space and get in your baby's face. It also, because of this, gives them a little bit more protection during cold and flu season, where if people are respecting their personal space a little bit more, they're not sharing their germs with your baby. And depending on the age of your child, you can also, there's options for some of the carriers to have a covering that goes up over their head. And this is really essentially to provide shade for the child, but and help them nap. But also it's just an extra level of stay away. All right, so let's get into the benefits of baby wearing. And there are a few. So up first is the calmer babies aspect. So the warmth, you're hearing your breathing, feeling your chest rise and fall, and just being almost in a swaddled position just helps calm your baby. Think about it. It's as close as they can get to being back in your womb. So they're just they feel a lot more safe and secure, and that way they feel a lot more calm. They're not as fussy, therefore. It's just gives a sense of calm to the parent as well. Just having them that close to you and knowing that they're safe and supported. The second benefit is a little less obvious, and it's heightened communication. When you are this close to your child, you pick up on their cues a little bit more and they pick up on yours respectively. You might notice that they're hungry a little bit faster. You might notice that they're starting to fidget and maybe getting fussy or start to wake up, and you can soothe them back to sleep. So there's because of that proximity, physical and just in the physical sense of touch, you tend to just pick up on the changes in their mood and their needs a little bit faster, and they can respond to you a little bit faster. Number 4 is pretty obvious, and that's getting back the use of your arms and or hands. So if you have a baby that fusses and doesn't like to be put down, baby wearing, I think what we think of it a lot of times is out of the house, running errands kind of thing. Wearing baby around the house just totally helps you reclaim your day. You can do the dishes, you can do your laundry, you can walk around. It gives you the freedom to get up and move and not be so nap trapped all the time. And they also get to kind of see things from your perspective. So if they're not napping, they're seeing you interact with different things in the house. And that's just stimuli that's going to help your baby develop. This kind of goes hand in hand with number 4. But number 5 is the ability to get up and move around or get exercise. When my son was young. I think we took him on his first hike at about 4 months old. And even just before then, over the course of the winter, I would bundle him up, put him in a Moby wrap, and head outside just to get some fresh air, to move around, to get some gentle or mild exercise. It did wonders for my mental health in those early days. Not, the really, really early days, but when he was a couple months old, it was just great to be able to start to introduce him to the things that I love, but also still get the catharsis from like things like hiking or snowshoeing or walking around. I kind of touched on it before, but number 6 is bonding. So we have to highlight this because it's so, so important. We have a blog post on this too, but a bond with your baby doesn't happen just because they handed you your child, right? And it's true for biological children, but it's also true for adoptive, foster children. There is no just oftentimes immediate bond just because you're holding your baby. Sometimes you need to work at it a little bit, and both of you need to work at it. So baby wearing is a really great way just to encourage and foster that bond. I loved it from day one. And when I showed my husband the baby carrier, he had a hard time tying the Moby wrap at first, but we would actually argue over who got to hold our baby or wear our baby when we would either just be around the house or out running errands. So it was almost something to laugh about as he grew up, but it's awesome to watch your partner and the bond that they're able to establish so much faster just through baby wearing. And 7 is breastfeeding. This wouldn't be a BeauGen video if we didn't talk about pumping or breastfeeding in some shape or form. So depending on the age of the baby, the carrier option that you have them in and your comfort level with it, you can actually breastfeed your baby while they're in a carrier. So think of the carrier as holding them in that koala type position. And we'll drop our blog and video on breastfeeding positions where we cover this position. But koala basically is like if your child was sitting on your lap in front of you and their head is at the level of your breast. That's great for older children if you're carrying them on the front. Sometimes infants, you can kind of reposition them in a sling, and with a little bit of support from your arm or your hand, you can kind of hold them in a position where they can breastfeed as well. So get a little creative. Just make sure baby is safe, their neck and their head is supported, and try it out. It can be great because you are able to have that same support as a breastfeeding pillow, but you can get up and walk around. I used to feed my son while we were hiking, and some people noticed and some people just had no idea what was going on. So it was kind of fun to like just see people's reactions, but also just like get away with a little secret. Okay, so now let's get into a few of the options for baby wearing. We're just going to cover these like the broad types or category, and I'll throw up some images as we go through this, but there are a lot of different brands within each type of carrier that we're going to cover. First couple of things to talk through: that some carriers will go like a car seat from infant to older child. Some are better for infants, some are better for older children. You may have a preference for when your child is little and when your child is older. For example, we loved the Moby wrap, the long piece of fabric when he was younger, and then we opt for a carrier that kind of clips. It's just a lot easier to put on. So your preferences may change, but when picking your carrier, make sure that it is appropriate for the age and weight of your baby. Look at the instructions, how it's suggesting that you should carry your baby, and if they are able to switch to the back, like just note those kind of things like you would using a car seat. Do your research. Go on the mom forums, go on Facebook, ask your friends and family which options they use, which options they prefer, and why. We have our own preferences because of our lifestyle. You may have a different lifestyle or a different goal or for your carrying option. So talk to people. And if you have the ability to either go to a store like a Bye Bye Baby or a Target, or pop over to your friends' houses and touch and feel and try on the carriers, it's going to make it a lot easier to narrow down the options and just know which one you're going to go with. Some of them are less expensive. Some of them are quite expensive. So these are all things to take into account when you're doing your shopping. These are also great things to hand down. I think we bought one of our carriers and we have 5 different types, including a hiking pack. So you might even get lucky and find somebody that has a gently loved version that they want to gift to you. The first one we're going to talk about are wraps. So these are essentially one long piece of fabric, almost like a pashmina times 7 or 8, and you wrap it around your body in a couple of different ways, starting with around your tummy and then up over your shoulders and then probably back down. Sounds really complicated, but once you do it a few times, you'll totally get the hang of it. Super, super easy after those initial kind of fumbling tries. This is great for when your baby is younger. I know people that swear for wraps through the toddler years, but personally, I found it just really nice to be able to like swaddle our child and make him feel really safe and secure. It also has like, you can use the strap that goes over your shoulder as a way to kind of cradle their head or nestle their head. So I felt like a little extra support there when he was younger. And then we did use it into some of, probably about a year old before we switched to another carrier. But like I said, you can continue using them. Just when you make your purchase, note the weight and age requirements or limitations, if there are any. And if there are any changes in the way you would use the wrap as they age. These were nice too. So when it was winter, when my son was kind of young, and you literally don't have to adjust anything. So I could put on my winter jacket and tie the wrap over top of it without having to tighten and loosen and adjust a bunch of straps and still be able to fit him in it. And I was able still to put him in a bunting in the carrier, the wrap as well. So it was easier and faster in a sense that, there weren't all of these adjustments that I needed to make, and you don't need to make those adjustments from person to person. It just, the knot ties in a different place on the wrap. Next up are slings, which are very similar to a wrap. They're a long piece of fabric, which is probably a little bit shorter than your typical wrap. And there's often a metal ring or a D-ring of some sorts at the end that helps you fasten or tie. And sometimes you don't have to totally undo these. You can just loosen it up as you slide the sling off of your body and then tighten it back up as you slide it on. These are great for cradling and, cross-cradling the baby. And there's a number of different ways to use these as well. I know people that absolutely swear by them. So if you are looking at a wrap, a sling could be another option that I would highly suggest. I think the other good thing is, and I could be wrong because I didn't use a sling, but I feel like the use of the metal ring might also help as, handle the increased weight as baby gets older. But do your research, check it out, talk to people that you know that have used them. And if you can, maybe try one out for yourself. The next is a really broad category. This is carrier. So anything that has adjustable straps and snaps or buckles, these are what we're using now that our son is a little bit older. He's past 1. It's great. You can just kind of clip them into it. And the straps, yes, they do take some adjusting when it goes from me to my husband and vice versa, but you just kind of like tug on them and it's not too terrible. There are ones that they come in all different colors, all different shapes, different levels of padding, different configurations. Some are recommended more by different professions, like PTs and pediatricians might recommend one because of the hip positioning over another. Some allow your child to be facing the front or like forwards away from you. Some of them only allow your child to be facing your chest. Some go from your chest to carrying your child on your back as they get older. All kinds of options here. So this is a great category to really try out, but also lean on your friend's advice. Two of these are ones that we were given by friends. So we had a friend that was able to show us how to use them, tell us all about them, tell us when and why they loved them, like how they used them, what instances. So again, it might come down to some trial and error, and talking to people in your network or in your circles. And maybe you end up trying one and not liking it as much as another one. But the good thing about having this much options or choice is that there is an option that's out there that's going to work for your family and your child. The last option is a new one. So now that more and more dads and partners are getting into baby wearing, now that it's becoming more popular, there are actually pieces of clothing that are being designed to help carry your child. I don't know if there are age requirements because it is like a band of fabric in these products, but there are shirts now that are made for partners that you put on, and then there's like a little kangaroo pouch that you kind of slide the baby down into, and it's adorable. I have not tried one of these myself, neither has my husband, but if we're blessed with a second baby, I think we're going to try it because they're just like so cute and they look so functional. It's literally like if you were doing like skin to skin and just putting the baby on your chest, and it's in a shirt. So definitely something to check out if you have a little one. Okay, so that was a lot to cover in one video. Thank you so much for sticking with us till the end. Please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss great educational content like this. And of course, educational content on breastfeeding and specifically pumping. We got a lot more coming your way. If you have any questions at all about BeauGen products or our content, please reach out to our mommy care team using the email address pumped@beaugen.com, and stay pumped for BeauGen.